Welcome into WTOL 11 News at 6. I'm Michael Sandlin. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've got a fantastic show for you, including local reaction to the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. But before we get to all that, let's bring in meteorologist John Birchfield. John, it's getting slightly warmer than it was earlier this week. Is it going to continue later into the weekend?
Well, there is going to be a slow and steady warm up, Michael, that'll lift those temperatures. How does 50 degrees in January sound? Because by late next week, it is going to be considerably warmer. Now, it is going to be a cold and dry end to the weekend. Highs only making it to the 20s once again for your Sunday. But there is going to be some sun returning and the winds will be calm. So a relatively pleasant day if you're dressed for it. Temperatures right now are in the mid-20s. There are a couple passing snow flurries as a weak area of low pressure drifts over the Great Lakes. There could be some light snow, maybe a very, very minor coating across southern Michigan. You'll notice areas like Luna Pier and Monroe back towards Port Clinton and Sandusky have the best chance to get clipped by a couple of those snow showers. There is going to be some clearing tonight and some sunshine returning, but also temperatures only reaching the upper 20s. I'll preview when that warm up arrives coming up in just a few minutes, Michael.
All right, John, we'll see you then. A woman and her 2 infant sons were reported missing from a West Toledo home yesterday. According to a Toledo police social media post, Courtney Arriaga was reported missing from the 4700 block of Talmadge Green with her 2 infant sons, Zion and Zeke. She may be driving a tan Ford Fusion with a license plate number KSQ2930 and is known to frequent the area of Bennett and Lasky roads. Anyone with information is asked to call or text Crime Stoppers at 419-255-1111. Right now, close to 4,000 people in the Swanton area are without power. According to First Energy's website, the outage stretches as far south as the Maumee State Forest and as far north as near Central Avenue. The Toledo Express Airport appears to be included within that range of power outage. Now, WTOL 11 reached out to First Energy. We're still waiting to hear back. The current estimation for the power outage to be fixed is 8 p.m. tonight. According to Toledo Police, 2 people are dead on South Avenue near Cortland Avenue. Now, we went to the scene and TPD did confirm the deaths, but they were unable to share any further details. The situation remains under investigation. We'll give you an update on air and online as soon as we learn what happened at this scene. A 36-year-old is dead after their car was hit by a train in North Toledo. This happened just before 3 this morning on North Detroit Avenue. Police say Alondre Moore, the driver of a car, was heading south on North Detroit, ignoring flares and train workers carrying lanterns at the closed crossing. Moore tried to cross the tracks as the train was backing up. The 36-year-old tried to avoid the train at the last minute, but their car was hit and then carried 50 feet. The car caught fire, leaving Moore trapped. Toledo Fire pronounced him dead at the scene. A passenger on the back of the train was hit by the car, but did not want medical treatment. Right now, U.S. officials say Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife are on their way to New York, where they will face multiple federal drug and weapons charges. The couple was captured by U.S. forces overnight, according to President Donald Trump in an address. The incident has stunned many global leaders. President Trump said earlier today the U.S. would run Venezuela until there can be a transition of power. Jen Sullivan has the latest on the attack and what happens next.
Missiles lighting up the sky in Venezuela overnight Saturday as the U.S. launched strikes into the country's capital city of Caracas in a stunning attack.
It was clear that something was happening, and it was big because of the detonations that we heard.
Mary Mena, a CNN producer located in Caracas, says the attack led to confusion and fear.
Early today,
President Donald Trump announcing the attack on Truth Social and said President Nicolas Maduro and his wife were captured. Then later sharing this photo of Maduro in U.S. custody.
This was one of the most stunning, effective and powerful displays of American military might.
Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, face multiple drug and weapons charges, including narco-terrorism conspiracy and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States. Venezuelans in South Florida celebrating the news of Maduro's capture. This incident follows weeks of rising tension between the U.S. and Venezuela. For months, the Trump administration has been targeting alleged drug boats coming from Venezuela in what it has called its crackdown on global drug trafficking. Maduro has denied involvement. While Maduro was seen by many as an authoritarian leader who violated human rights, the action to capture him and his wife has raised serious concerns about the U.S. violating international law.
The strikes overall and the activity in the sovereign territory of another country will certainly raise criticism from some parts of Congress, within our own government, and certainly from the international community.
Venezuela leaders say they have requested an urgent meeting with the United Nations Security Council in response to the attack. Jen Sullivan, WTOL 11.
One source familiar with the situation says Maduro and his wife are expected to appear in a federal courtroom in New York as early as Monday. And our Dominique O'Neill collected reaction from Venezuelans in our area. Dominique, who did you find?
Well, Michael, I spoke to Linda Parra, a woman who was originally from Venezuela. She fled the country in 2000, and she says she's shocked and elated by the news that President Maduro has been captured, saying the country has been on the downswing since 1999. She says her family wanted to escape the previous president, Hugo Chavez, a regime that Maduro was a part of. Parra said the conditions back then were terrible, loss of freedom of speech and the jailing of political enemies. And she says under Maduro, things have only gotten worse. Years of economic collapse, political unrest, and mass migration. Now Parra says at an end to this era in her home country, and she tells me she couldn't be more relieved.
It's been exciting. I'm being kind of like nervous to see the final results, and exciting in sharing the news with families and friends in Venezuela. I mean, it's been non-stop the whole day on the phone, sharing news and getting phone calls and text messages from my family in Venezuela and from people in Venezuela, and also people here from Venezuela too. The time for freedom in Venezuela has arrived.
Coming up at 11, I talked to a Venezuelan independent journalist who gives us his perspective on what's happening and expressed concern about what comes next. Reporting in studio, Dominique O'Neill, WTOL 11.
All right, thank you, Dom. The Northwest Ohio Peace Coalition held an emergency protest this afternoon opposing the U.S.'s action in Venezuela. Over 24 people protested at the corner of Secor in Central and West Toledo. The group says the United States' actions in the country are illegal acts of war. They also say the U.S. is trying to steal Venezuela's oil and undermine their sovereignty.
Believe it or not, I get in conversations with drivers when they're stopped at the stoplight. And short conversations, but many appreciate commenting about what they feel briefly. And we usually are on the same page. So it's a matter of public education, you know, somewhat like billboards.
The group claims that this is not about Venezuela drug trafficking and that Venezuela only contributes 5% of the world's drugs, while the majority comes from Honduras, Colombia, Nicaragua, and Mexico. Police in Columbus are working to figure out what happened after a dentist and his wife were found shot to death in their home. This while their 2 young children were still inside. Co-workers first called police when Dr. Spencer Tepe didn't show up for work and couldn't be reached, something they say wasn't typical for him.
Detectives are still going through a multitude of evidence, video footage, all that stuff.
Police say no signs of forced entry and no gun was found at the scene. The children were not hurt, and investigators say this does not appear to be a murder-suicide. Police are working for answers as a memorial continues to grow outside the family's home. Coming up, from new library hours to new grants, the incoming changes for Toledo residents expect in the new year.
And how does 50 degrees in January sound? There is going to be a much warmer weather pattern next week with highs climbing close to 50, but also some rain chances. I've got a look ahead of the timing coming up next. I'll keep the winter coat handy for tomorrow, but there is going to be a gradual warming trend. Highs are only going to be in the 20s for your Sunday, but by late next week, 50 degrees in January. There is going to be some sunshine returning, but overall still some of those thick winter clouds. 24 the current temperature, and you may have noticed the sunsets are getting later. Our sunset is now at 5:16, and we gain a total of 49 minutes of daylight over the course of January, coming from that earliest sunset of December that happens at about 5:03. Current temperature map showing you 22 right now in Huron County, 24 in Toledo, as well as Bowling Green, also at 24. There could be a couple passing flurries this evening. Right now over western Lucas County and into Fulton County, there is a little light snow also up towards Monroe and into Hillsdale County, a few spotty snow showers. There is a weak area of low pressure just to the north of Toronto that is churning out some snow showers and even some heavier lake effect bands up towards upstate New York. So the hour-by-hour forecast is going to show you a few passing snow showers tonight, mainly near and along the lakeshore. Monroe back towards Port Clinton and Sandusky having the best shot to see a little bit of light snow. It is expected to stay partly sunny to mostly cloudy into your Sunday. Winds are going to be very calm once again, so as long as you're wearing that winter coat, it's going to be a relatively pleasant feeling day. Out the door in the morning, we are going to be in the lower 20s, so not super cold tonight. Into the afternoon, highs are expected to be in the upper 20s and not a ton of a wind chill factor due to the calmer breeze. Now that long range outlook still points towards milder weather into next week, but it may come with some rain chances. The thaw begins on Monday with temperatures climbing up into the 30s. Tuesday is going to be our next chance for some showers, and we stay in the 40s at least through the middle to latter half of the week. A very weak weather disturbance moving over the Great Lakes Tuesday could churn out a few showers, but hardly enough to even wet the pavement. There could be a little bit of fog due to the melting snow this week, and then Thursday, a stronger Ohio Valley low is going to bring more widespread rain, especially late Thursday and then into Friday. Friday, though, is going to be a warm and wet day with temperatures near 50 degrees. Next week featuring that gradual warm up and snow melt ahead, and by late week, due to widespread rainfall, there could very well be no snow on the ground in a week's time. So your extended forecast does feature just one more day below freezing. By Monday, we're up to 36 degrees. Tuesday, 41 with that chance for a few scattered showers. Wednesday looks fairly tranquil before that next storm system arrives. Widespread showers are going to be possible Thursday and Friday, possibly even into Saturday. And that next cold front is going to drop us back to the 30s next Sunday. So the warm up not necessarily going to last super long, but overall no signs of a major cool down. Temperatures likely will be staying above freezing. Michael?
All right, thank you, John. We have an update to the Swanton power outages we first told you about at the beginning of the show. The village of Swanton is providing an update on the ongoing power situation. The mobile substation brought in after the original failure has also gone offline. Toledo Edison crews are actively rerouting circuits to other substations to restore power as safely and as quickly as possible. Now, we know this is frustrating, and they say they appreciate your patience. Updates will be shared as they become available. Lucas County is getting $1 million to improve housing. The county is just one of 29 communities across the state to get a grant, with a total more than $21 million statewide. The goal is to improve housing and provide home ownership and rental assistance to low and moderate income families. The Department of Development says the money for Lucas County will go towards rehabilitating 9 owner-occupied homes and repairing 11 homes, while including a fair housing component. The department didn't say which homes would be rehabilitated or repaired, but that the county is partnering with Maumee and Oregon. Now let's take a look at some of the changes heading to your way this weekend. Starting Sunday, there will be new hours at 4 Toledo Lucas County Public Library locations. You can see the new hours for the main library on your screen right now. You can see it'll be open during 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. daily besides Wednesday and Thursdays. Instead, it'll be open from noon until 8:30 and closed on Sunday. And 3 of the system's branches, Holland, King Road, and Waterville, are also changing hours, yet hours at the 15 other locations will stay the same. Noelle?
All right, thanks, Michael. When we return, it's a Saturday full of college basketball as all 4 of our teams were in action. All those recaps are coming up next in sports. Sports brought to you by Jim White Honda. I'm Noelle Blumel. College basketball is helping tip off the new year as the Toledo and Bowling Green men and women were all in action today. So let's get it started with the Toledo men. Rockets facing Central Michigan for their first conference game on the road. And early on, here's Austin Parks with the double-handed slam, and Toledo goes up even further. Later, shot clock winding down, Parks saves it from going out of bounds. Sonny Wilson is going to recover, throw it up, and not just two more at the buzzer, but the Rockets would trail by 10 at the break. So second half now, tie game. Wilson gets it to Parks in the paint. He goes up and notches the hoop and the harm to put Toledo in the lead. Minutes left in the fourth, one-possession game. Kyler Vanderjagt going off on his former school, drives in and notches two of his game-high 23 points. And the Rockets would hold on to win their second conference game, 78-75 over CMU. Now on the women's side, Toledo won their MAC opener on New Year's Eve and looking to continue that trend into the new year over Miami. Rockets trailing in the second, ball gets to Eva Lise Cole beyond the arc and she buries the three. Later, one possession game and Kendall Carruthers delivers, goes up from underneath and not just two of her team high 12 points. Second half now, Miami with a small lead. Miriam Diala drives to the basket, notching the hoop and the harm to give Toledo momentum. Finally, fourth quarter, Rockets climbing the uphill battle, and Cole delivers again, this time going glass from underneath, but it wouldn't be enough as Toledo would fall to Miami by a final of 63-55. They are now 1-1 in MAC play. Meanwhile, our only home basketball game was in Bowling Green today, women hosting Central Michigan this afternoon. Early in the game, John A. Donahue driving inside, throws a shot up, gets the friendly roll, and the Falcons strike first. Later, Paige Kohler driving inside, she throws it up, it's no good, but Taya Ellis there for the rebound and putback, plus the whistle. Finally, Falcons on defense, Donahue with the hands-up steal, she pushes it up court to Kohler and gathers the ball to lay it in. Bowling Green played from behind most of this game, not able to get the win as they fall to CMU at home 68-56.
When you turn the ball over 19 times and shoot 29% from the field and 6% from the three, you're not going to win too many games. So that's pretty much the tale of the game.
Just got to get back in the gym. Got to keep working. Got to keep doing what you need to do. You know, it was didn't make the shots we wanted, but they'll fall. We got it.
And finally, the Falcon men were also on the road at UMass today and came out on top in a one-point overtime thriller, 101-100 the final. They are now 2-1 in conference play, and we'll have the recap of that game coming up later tonight. But until then, that's all for sports.
Welcome back in. It's time to raise a glass in honor of the invention that helps some people drink. Today is National Drinking Straw Day. The patent for the straw, which made its debut in paper form, was received on January 3rd by Marvin C. Stone. Archaeologists say the very first drinking straws were used by the Sumerians to drink beer. That's a good use. Single-serve plastic straws have drawn criticism because of environmental concerns. Some European countries are working to cut down on the plastic waste. But hold on here, because all three